Turn this up. All right, you guys all set?
Mate, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Make sure the fro is good to go.
Mate, I'm going to have a throw if this shit carries on any longer. I might do this.
Yeah, man.
I might do RoboCop.
That's Cyclops.
I was about to say Cyclops. That's what you look like right there.
That is my areas.
All right. Welcome to Twigs and Wigs.
Yeah, baby.
A podcast about music.
Sometimes.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to our podcast, the Bones, Twigs, and Wigs podcast. You can ask us about the name later. It's all good. Here we have myself. My name is Johnny Jones. I'm from Washington, D.C. On my, I guess this way. I don't know if you guys can see him this way, but he's like to my left. Is my main man, Stephen Burke. All the way from the UK?
Yeah, Manchester.
My man, Manchester.
London. There's more places in London. Right. Fellow Americans, not fellow Americans. Right. I just said fellow Americans. What's wrong with me? You carry on.
Right. Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah, he just he thinks he's the president and everything.
He's already telling you off.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, your president thinks he's a president, and he's not. It's not my. Let's not get into that. That's different. That's a whole nother topic right there. And yes, I said whole nother. Don't judge me. But yeah, and then below me. That sounds weird, but below me, we got my main man Grant, G Rant. Hey, all the way from Australia. What, you're in Queensland?
No, other end, mate. I'm in Melbourne.
Melbourne. Oh man, I always wanted to say Melbourne.
The constant and annual winner of the most livable city on the world.
Yeah, whatever.
And I did say I did say on the world, not in the world.
Right, on the world.
Don't know why.
There you go.
It's going well. We should do an episode on how to speak the Queen's English, because we'd all fail.
Oh yeah, I would definitely fail that.
Yeah,
I'll probably just say
the Aussie
Queen.
Then we call ourselves the Aussie, the Mank, and the Yank.
Mank and the Yank.
Bro, I'll just say which queen, man. I'll probably which queen are you talking about? Aretha Franklin,
No, Queen Lizzie.
I don't know.
We love Queen Lizzie in Australia.
You guys do, really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, let's not talk about politics, man. This is just, please. It's so depressing. That's not what
we came to talk about.
You know what I'm saying? It's always trying to break us apart, man. Grant, what are we talking about today, man?
Today we are discussing our various opinions on live streaming, which seems to be a very popular thing to do in today's current lockdown situation we're all slowly coming out of, but still very much in. I think Stephen is coming straight off a live stream.
I am. That's why I have my sexy voice at the minute, because I've been singing for like 2.5 hours. But I never streamed anything before. So until like, until like 3 weeks ago. Johnny, you've done it before. Grant's done a couple of little things, and this. So I'm just learning. Johnny, you've had more experience. How did you start with it? Did you start doing podcasts? Or have you done any of the streams?
Yeah, I've just done podcasting, but I haven't done any live, no live podcast. I would love to do like live podcasting. And I've done like some research on that. I've even looked at like venues and stuff. I almost had an episode in Miami on my last podcast. Had all the equipment and everything. We were going to like go down to like the beach or go to like a restaurant and just like try to set up shop, and that's a whole nother, I'm gonna say whole nother again. That's a whole nother, ball game right there, man. But yeah, I've seen it done, a lot of these like interviews that you might see on like YouTube and stuff that's like out in public and things like that. Most of the time, all of that stuff is like, live based or, not too much like post production or like, post edits and stuff like that. But yeah, like, you guys are probably more, like in tune with like the whole live, like going live, being interactive with like your fan base or your viewers or whatever. Everything I do is in post, man. I keep it safe, man. You know what I'm saying? I strap up twice. You feel me?
Yeah, man, you got to sometimes. Yeah, man. Wear a paper.
He seems like the most people person, but he's not.
I'm not, man. I'm scared of people. I can't. I don't like people.
Scared of you.
Steven's the most people person here.
Yeah,
but I hate people as well. It's just a weird mixture of feelings.
Yeah, but you just want them all to like you, though.
Yeah, but if one person doesn't, then I presume
me and Johnny don't care.
Right? I'm like, oh, you don't like me? Oh, that sucks. All right. Hey, how you doing? We just moved to the next, man.
I just go, that's all right. I never liked you anyway.
It's weird because I'm like not antisocial. That's the wrong word, but I'm very happy to be on my own. Very happy to be locked away in a room and chilling out, playing computer games, playing music. Mm-hmm. But when the social side gets taken away from me, mm-hmm. then it kills me inside. Like, it's my choice to be locked away.
Breaking up now.
Fine, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you something though. So like, how's the live streaming been going? Like, because I've seen like you go live and it's just like you and your guitar. How's everything like going with that? Like how does it work? Like you're just going straight like Facebook Live or?
No, yeah. So if anyone's starting out doing it, OBS is probably the best way to start because it's free.
That's the one. It's very good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't know what to expect at first because I looked online and there's many different options. But if you're just streaming to one thing, so you can basically, if you download OBS, decide what you want to stream to. So let's say Facebook. Mm-hmm. Then you click on your Facebook account. It will say, type in status or whatever. And you can click on the live button. It'll take you to another screen where it'll give you a streaming key. You just copy and paste that into the streaming key on OBS. And then when you press live, it automatically puts it on Facebook Live. It connects the two seamlessly. So it's very simple. For a noob, it's scary until you do it. And you do it, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool.
I think you can do Facebook and Instagram at the one time as well.
Wow.
No, I don't know. I think you have to get something. You can get different programs and you pay like a small amount. It's like $50 for a year, so it's nothing. And then you can stream to more than one. So you can stream to YouTube at the same time as Facebook. So then you can have, it's a different, I was going to say, then you can monetize YouTube and do different things like that. But I think it's just one at a time unless you pay something.
Yeah. I mean, if you just have the free version of an app, you're probably not going to unlock all the potential of said app. But
yeah. And if you're starting out, you need to start basic until you've got the handle on it. Like we're all doing in different ways. I found that going on my own music page rather than if you're streaming, if you're trying it out, it's better to set up a page, like a musician page or an actor page or a whatever page, because that's automatically public. And therefore people can share that. You can share that everywhere and anybody can go on it. And plus people who follow you will get notified if you're going live. Whereas if you're on your own personal page, like I have mine set to private, so nobody can find it. So you would have to make your own personal page public to be able to have random people come in and out. And I don't want people coming in and out of my random personal page on Facebook, but on my music page, that's sort of the idea. That's, that's what it's there for. So I think that's important to know that you can keep it private or you can make it public. Or you can actually, on the Facebook page where you do the streaming, you can set your audience. So I can set my audience just to be in Britain, or I can do a specific time. Like now it's 1 a.m. in the UK. So now if I was doing this now live, it would be pointless doing it to the UK. So maybe I make it specific for America, and I just go United States of America, and it would only go to the United States of America. And that way you can actually do specific audiences, specific things, if you're talking about certain topics or certain songs or certain people, or, you can do that as well.
Yeah. No, that sounds like super cool. So Grant, like, have you used that or like you just know about it or?
No, I've got it.
I was about to say, I don't see you go live often,
I've Yeah, well, this is that was another thing I was looking forward to talking about is your actual like general opinion on doing it, because I've especially in the last few months, for various reasons, become very kind of jaded towards the idea.
Because everybody's doing it.
A little bit of that. When I first got back to Australia, I was doing a lot of live DJ streams, but that presents a whole different list of problems that I'll get into later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, in terms of doing regular live streaming, I decided that I was a little against the idea of at least doing a regular sort of one, just because it seems to go against my general idea of never play for free. And I figured, I don't mean for that to sound funny, but
it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, but I
didn't see it coming. That's why I'm laughing. I
saw it coming from a mile away.
Well, Steve and me have had a lot of conversations about this sort of thing.
Oh God. Yeah.
But the way that I look at it, I still kind of look at playing for people the same way online as I would in person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to think that I'm happy to just go out and play for the sheer enjoyment of playing.
Right.
I don't. If I want to play just for my own enjoyment, I'll stay home
and practice.
And I'll practice.
Yeah, that's practice time, right? Oh God, man. If I'm playing for the benefit of other people, there's got to be some quid pro quo going on. Mm-hmm. As much as we're trained against that in the cruise ship industry, I want to get paid. You got to get paid in full. Right. There you go.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rock him.
I have a different side to that because
please.
I think at this moment in time, like, the only chance I have to perform to an audience is via streaming, and I can get real-time feedback because I have my phone which sits near me, and that's so I can see the stream on my phone, so I can check if something goes wrong with it. And also people can live message, so I'm getting messages all the time, requests and people talking, and tonight a lot of people from ships, actually a couple of jazz singers I know from the symphony, they were talking to my parents who hadn't seen them for so that's cool. So that gives me something back. But also, and this does stem more from Americans, you can set up a PayPal account, paypal.me account, or is it Vimeo or whatever it's called as well, and basically have like a virtual tip jar.
Yeah.
And so I haven't played for free at all, because every time I've done it, I've had the virtual tip jar, and a couple of the gigs I've done very, very well out of it. And I've actually earned more money than I would make from going to do a gig. And I just need to
that's nice.
Behind me rather than getting my car and set up a PA system. I just need to set up some headphones. So there's definitely another side to that. If you want to do it, you can put that out there. And if you've got a good following, then people, look after you,
Yeah. And that's key. Cause like you said, like you got to have a good following. Cause like if your social media is not popping, man, like if it's not, really doing any numbers, then it's like you're getting out there. You can't expect to get, like those tips, like you said, cause that's what it's all about. It's like, unless you're like just hashtagging it up, like, I don't know how that works, but like if you just hashtag before you go live, and then somebody's like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? And then you get like these random people, but yeah, like you gotta, like you said, like that's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think it's a learning curve for anyone doing it. I think it's important to not play for free. I think it's important to set your stall out in general, because people take advantage of, if we're just on musicians here, not every job in the world, but the joke is always that musicians tend to get advantage taken of us. We tend to ask to do things for free because people think that what we do is purely for our enjoyment. Exposure, food for exposure, but exposure doesn't pay the bills type thing. So I normally would say that, but in this sense, the world has stopped. The only way I can personally gig is by doing this, and it's once a week. It's a few hours of my time on a Sunday or Saturday. I really enjoy it because I get to play and sing stuff I I would normally be doing 6 days a week. I keep my hand in a bit. People are lovely. They've been giving me tips, which gives me some cash to get some beer and some food for the week. I have no income at the minute because I'm not entitled to any income. And yeah, so, you know, there's two sides. I mean, but like I said, I would normally say, do not play for free. Do not do the exposure thing because that ruins it for everybody. But sometimes you've got to weigh up the pros and the cons, and the pros definitely outweigh the cons for me on this one.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. We're definitely in very different situations as well. I mean, I think it's looking like in the next couple of months, I might be able to find small cafes to play in, and you know, potentially, you know, to touch wood. But yeah, I definitely shy away from doing like a common and regular sort of live stream thing. I also don't think that I would get the amount of like tips that you would get, Stephen, because I just would not play requests.
I've done a few. I've completely ignored the ones I really hate. So if you listen to this, sorry about that. I apologize. I'm not playing Sweet Carol.
I mean, we're all doing a bunch of musical projects while we're all kind of stuck at home, and I think I'm constantly teasing Steve about the repertoire that he's putting out, because you know it seems that at least for me, he'll put out a song with people that, you know, I know, and I have seen him do that exact thing live with that person, and they're just doing the same song again. I'm like, oh, I think I said a couple of times, like, oh, look at you all branching out. Whereas on my end, I'm trying to go out of my way to do a lot of weird stuff that
like something different,
because I wouldn't be able to do it in real time normally. But that's another reason why I don't really want to go live very often, if at all, because I don't think it's things that people would stick around and watch in real time.
Yeah,
that I would want to do. So if I'm going to do it, I would want to do what I want to do, not what I wouldn't want to approach it with the same mentality that I approach a normal gig, which is, you know, I'm playing for people, but because there are no actual people in the room, it's harder to gauge what those people would want to hear.
But you can get the actual live response. So if you do that, you can set up.
Yeah,
it's already set up for you. You just go and stream and you get messages. You get that. I love that, Johnny.
But you know what I mean when I say it's different, right?
Yeah,
but it's if you enjoy doing it, then by all means, you know, do it. I don't want to sound like a wet blanket or anything. I just don't think it's something that Johnny in the microphone. Yeah, it's something that I haven't found it yet. I haven't found a way to be totally comfortable doing it yet. But that being said, I've also, like I said, I also ran into a lot of different problems, because doing it acoustically is one thing. Doing it with other people via internet connections is another thing, right. And also doing it as say a DJ set, that's a nightmare. Because Steve, you wouldn't have run into any copyright problems, right?
Oh, well, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, that's a tough one, because when you perform at a venue, they're normally covered by specific licenses that allow you to play other people's music, but it is your interpretation of that music as well. Whereas if you're using actual samples, then you run into the let's sue Marvin Gaye's family bullshit. You know,
so, no, it's not even that. The problem that you run into when you're live DJ streaming is because you're playing like certain specific waveforms, all the algorithms on these things like Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, they pick up on it and they mute you immediately.
Wow.
It's like, I remember I did like a Prince themed live stream a while ago, and was constantly, even though I was like trying to avoid it, I thought, okay, don't play Little Red Corvette, play more outlandish stuff. you know, but even then it's like, muted, muted,
That's
muted.
crazy.
I didn't know that happened. It actually mutes you.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
wild.
when you do an acoustic gig like you, it's not a problem because they can't pick up on that.
Right, they can't pick up the waves. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
but
a
when you
digital
pick,
signature within, it's the same way that you go, "Hey Siri, what's this song?" Or "Hey, whatever." You know, like what's that?
yeah, and like say if you put up just a regular YouTube video or cover of something, or you know, like a DJ set pre-recorded, and you put it up, you can, you know, you write down and you claim all the things that you're using, and it's no problem. It'll play everything. But yeah, when you're doing it live, you can't actually do that. So you're just constantly getting cut off, unless you're running through a you know, website or a group or something that is prepaid for licensing, like a venue would. I was doing a few DJ streams through a program like that, but they ran out of funding in a month.
Yeah, man.
So you know, that's like I said, there's a whole like litany of problems that you run into on that end.
Well,
even though
like,
it's it's like sonically it's the cleanest way to play live. You just plug.
right.
I'm sure we'll get to like plugging in methods in a minute, but
well,
yeah,
I was about
DJing
to
is the
say,
cleanest way to do it.
I was about to say, so we got about like 12 minutes left. You know, did you guys want to talk about like the gear that you guys use for these lives? Yeah. So
like a general thing. I mean, I've got some props.
okay, let's see what you got.
So, you know, you'll see behind me, there's like guitars and basses and cellos and instruments and stuff like that. So, you know, if I'm playing the instrument, I need to plug the instrument in. The like basic way to do it is if you own a PA system, but you don't have any recording gear. But if you have, say, a small PA system, like I'm sure most acoustic guys tend to have, then most people would probably have like a mixer, like a little mixer like this.
Right.
I've got, you know, just one of these Allen Heath mixers that has a little USB export. So everything that you plug in, you could export via USB to, you know, like say Logic or Ableton or Pro Tools or something, and you could record it.
That's dope.
Works the exact same way with live streaming. You just set it up as the audio input, the exact same way that I'm talking through this microphone now, and it will just send that. And then cameras, Steve will know much more about cameras than I do. Yeah, but a smaller version of that, what I'm using right now, and Steve's using the same sort of thing. We've got the these little Focus Scarlett audio interfaces. This is an old obsolete one, that I have.
Look at
Steven's
you guys
got one
twinning. Guys are twinning over here.
See, when I talk, it has a light that lights up. Hi.
Yeah. I mean, they're about as basic as it goes. This here is a Rode NT1 microphone. This is like one of my favorite mics because it's cheap. Like it's only a couple of $100 at the most, and all it does is make you louder. It's not. There's no fancy switches or buttons and whistles or anything. It's as simple as it comes. Hey, Johnny's got one too.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I'm actually using mines right now.
It's like I was being careful to plug it.
Mine's the one I'm using is behind the computer, but I brought my old one just for the sake of
right. There
props.
You go. Like all I have is a box, you know. But yeah, I mean, like mine's is actually like kind of. I guess I don't want to say outrageous compared to you guys. It's the 18 i8. So it has like, you know, the 4 inputs in the front, technically 8 or whatever. And
I've got
yours isn't. Yeah. You don't have the portable one.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you guys got the 2-channel one, and bro, I wish I could find like a 4-channel.
No man, this is 4. This is a brand new one. This is a 4i4.
Yeah, but he means 4. No, but do you have 4 microphone like XLR?
No, right, yeah, I'm talking. Yeah,
the rest of line.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The problem that I have with audio interfaces, I'm constantly looking for one that has 4 microphone inputs, but it's also a portable one that you don't have to plug separately into a wall.
Exactly.
One that's just purely USB powered. And it seems like a really like holy grail sort of combination that's very hard to find.
It's so hard to find.
I'm
bro.
sure they exist, but
it's like it takes too much power, man. It take like just plugging it up USB. It takes way too much power to to have all of those inputs without that extra juice.
Yeah,
so,
just not quite there yet. It seems.
Yeah. It makes sense.
The way around that is to use the 2-1-2. So you got 2 inputs, and then use a tiny little mixing desk with like 4, 5, 6 mic inputs, and plug that in separately. But I mean, it's more stuff and more stuff. But I mean, that's the way around.
That's why I've got so many of these Allen and Heaths lying around my house because because I used to use that for teaching because if people come with their electric guitars into my house or something, I have like group classes. I could have say up to like 8 people plug into one mixer, but then that goes straight to the computer, and we all use the same like digital amp technology or whatever is amplifying the guitar.
Yeah,
it just saves on space. But yeah, you could do that. But then the downside to having lots of channels and only one source for the audio going into the computer is that you can't separate the audio, which is why the audio interfaces tend to be better than a straight up mixer.
I love them, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the mix is more of a MacGyver sort of solution.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, like especially for like like stuff like this, like podcasting. I know for me, my previous podcast that I've like either helped set up or my own personal podcast, I would have, let's say like you have like, of course, like your 2 co-hosts, and then you're, like maybe like a guest or something like that. And I always separate them, man. You know what I'm saying? Because like you never know when you might have that issue of somebody like coughing in a mic or something like that. If you guys are all on
some
one
horrible
mic,
guest with Tourette's or something. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, like you never know. So it's and it's crazy, but it's like it really depends. Like, you also have to just be mindful. Like if you're going to do a show with like an omnidirectional mic, and I've seen cats use I can try to look up the exact mic right now.
Yeah, like those conference ones that sit on a table, and you also sit
like
around
Rode, the company Rode. They actually have a
that's
Rode,
this one right here. Right.
Yeah. The one I'm talking about is the Rode Reporter omnidirectional like interview mic. It's about like 130, like US, and it's supposed to be like really decent, like
they're fine, but they're not for broadcasting. They're for if we were just having a conversation.
Exactly.
And it was purely audio and someone's on the phone, but there's a bunch of people around a table, like a speaker call. That's what they're kind of used for.
Yeah. So like I've seen some people use like that particular mic or just a mic like that, and they just sit it on the table. 4 people like around like a certain table, and they're just like chopping it up, now but at the end of the day, it's like, you got to separate it,
Yeah. No, we're running out of time for this particular.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So Stephen, you're the cameraman. I think Johnny and me are just both using our computer built-in cameras right now, right, Johnny?
Yeah, we're now wealthy enough,
We're keeping it simple. But Steve, raise your hand or cheers or something. Like, show us what you can do with that camera.
Oh yeah, it's good. So if you have certain cameras that autofocus, it's quite dark in here.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
It's all right. It's okay. It ain't.
So
all
Steve,
that.
talk us through how you look so much better than us.
Well, I had a lot of work done. No, I think the live stream and stuff. If you're making YouTube, anything, you can use a webcam on your computer. You can use your phone. If you got like one of these new iPhones, these things are sick. Like the cameras on these are amazing. They're mind-blowing. But if you want to step it up so it looks better, it's so important, I think, to get a camera. It just is. And you can get decent video cameras for not a lot now. This is a Sony A7 III. It's like £2,000, I think, ish, a bit less. But the lens that's on there is the about £2,500. So
I've gone lens shopping with you, and
but I think
I am horrified.
This stuff is so expensive. I have lenses all around the house. I don't know. yeah, I think it does make a massive difference. It does make you stand out from the background, for example, because you can set the f-stop lower. It takes in a lot more light, and it exposes properly so that, like, if you're using a webcam like you guys are, like, everything becomes bright or everything is dark. And so when it brightens up so that people can see you, it makes everything look a bit grainy and a bit meh. Whereas a more expensive camera will just, I can expose for myself, and then the background is just dark. It's cool. It doesn't stress out. It doesn't try and focus the entire scene. It just goes, okay, this is where the metering is. I think it's a massive, massive thing. I mean, I've spoken to Johnny before. Podcast to me is just audio. So this is a new thing about video in it. But if you're streaming like a gig, like I did tonight, I thought that having this camera would make a massive difference. And it did. However, to quickly run into the pitfalls, this is a 4K camera, obviously. That caused issues. For the gig tonight, it wasn't linking up with the audio very well. And it wasn't like a specific amount of time. It was just my computer was struggling to match them both together. And that was coming across on the live stream. So it destroyed the first 45 minutes. People just constantly like, it's out, the audio's out, the video's out, and it seemed to catch up. So all I can think is that my computer was just having a bit of a hard time. So if you are going to use a camera, be aware. Shut down all the other programs, shut down everything, and try and optimize it. Don't use 4K, just use 1080, things like that. So, but it does make a big difference. It just, I like cameras and they're expensive.
Well, so I think what we're getting at is there's definitely a like for the layman, there's definitely a happy medium of like quality versus you know, usefulness. Like, like
you can do
like
the basics,
tactical benefits.
You can do the basics, but it
I think like what me and Johnny have got right now is kind of like pretty happy medium. Like, you know, the standard issued computer's camera, but a nice microphone. You know, but a nice microphone, like a nice audio setup and a decent video setup.
Yeah, I got everything else.
Steven's kind of rocking about as high as you could hope for.
Right.
Yeah, but he does look a lot more cinematic than we do.
It's clean, man. I mean, like I look like I'm
crisp.
Looks like we're looking at a movie or something right now, man. Like
you look 10 years younger, mate.
That's terrifying.
Like my age.
This thing picks out all the wrinkles,
everything. Yeah, but like I was about to say too, to all of the viewers and the listeners, man, like please don't get intimidated by all of this gear. You know what I'm saying? Like we use all of these different things for different things, you know. Like, you know, like I like even like the microphone that I'm using is a Shure SM7B. Great microphone, man. Very directional. Really good for broadcast, but also good for like music, bro. Like recording guitar, recording vocals. You know, maybe sax. You know, I kind of like if sax, kind of don't. You know, but yeah, man, it's a great mic. So, and I mean, you guys got great mics too as well.
Yeah,
like,
and it's also worth saying that all this stuff we're talking about, like it's, you know, years and like a lot of time buying, like accumulating all this gear over a long time, using money from the job that we get paid to use the stuff for.
Exactly.
So eventually it's good to remember that you spend money to make money, and that eventually these things do pay for themselves, but it does take a time to accumulate all this stuff, particularly the really fancy stuff. But the biggest purchase you're going to make if you want to get into playing via the internet is the audio interface. 100%.
Yeah.
One of these little Focusrites will only cost you a couple of $100.
So they're not a lot. No.
Definitely.
They're really not that expensive. And once you've got that, you could have any microphone that you want will plug into it and it will make noise. That is the place to start. And then everything on top of that is, you know, just gravy, basically.
All right, guys. Well, that looks like that's our time. Thank you guys for tuning into this very boring episode of this very, very informative, but very boring. You know, some of you guys probably heard us say, yeah, we're going to talk about gear. And it's like, click. All right, that's enough for me, you know.
All the guitarists stayed, but then they were horribly disappointed.
Right, you know? Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you're still here, congratulations, because you're still going to be sat here going, why am I just maybe
Man,
like
look,
our accents? I don't know. Maybe that's
if you're still here, I will cash app you $1.
Whoa!
But I have to quiz you on the entire episode to make sure that you watch the whole thing. You know,
What microphone?
Listen, if there's 1,000 of you, I want you all to send a message. I'll send you Johnny's direct message, and if there's 1,000 of you, you all get $1 each off Johnny, and we get to film it. And he has to do it on.
You might get $1 collectively off Johnny.
Yeah.
right. Now, but here's the thing: I didn't say when you will get that $1. I didn't put a date on that. You know, you might get it. Might be like 50 years from now. You know what I'm saying?
It is years and years of accumulative.
You know,
flavor dollar, man.
Think about all of that. Think about all of that inflation, man. Like, you know, yeah, it's gonna, you know, that dollar's gonna be worth it.
Have you seen the word no inflation?
All right, man. So look, we're gonna go ahead and sign out. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Bones, Twigs, and Wigs. Appreciate you guys.
Peace.